everyone. Welcome to Money, Sex, and God. This is your host, Genevieve, and I am super excited. We are recording this podcast live. So you might be watching live. If you are, share it, say hey, ask questions. I'll be checking. You can do that. You are allowed. If you fall in love with my guest, which I have a feeling you will, then you'll want to join us in the pleasure circle where you get to ask him the dirtiest, raunchiest, most vulnerable questions that you've ever asked anyone. That is available. So just click on the pleasure circle, join us now. Make sure to get in there so that you can come into our little intimate group and hang out. What else do I want to say to you watching live? If you're watching this live, I bet I'm also going to see you in 2 weeks at Fuck Yourself Open. The event that we're doing online is going to be so fucking hot. And if you're not there, then you lose. If you're watching on replay, I'm sorry you missed it, but damn, it was recorded. So reach out to us and make sure you get in and you get to enjoy Fucking Yourself Open. All right. So let me turn over to my guest for today. All right, hang on. I have to find your face. There's your face.
I'm here somewhere.
Your perfect face. So I was telling Brandon before we came on live that I do this basically because I want to hang out with friends and talk about like life. And then I'm like, why don't I make this into a podcast? Because I want y'all to see that like we're all just normal human beings. Like, and we just have these weird quirks and fun things about us. And we love talking about money. We love talking about sex. And that's what we're going to be doing on this podcast. So I really wanted you to see it. So Brandon, thanks so much for coming on. You and I met really recently.
Yeah, it was immediate vibe. We both want to talk cash. We both want to talk ass. I am here for it all the way.
It was an immediate vibe. And we're both from Baltimore, which I love so much, both from Maryland.
One extra perk. I think it's an extra little binding feature.
Mm-hmm. But I don't really know anything about you, like other than I just adore you, right? Like
I love it.
And like official bio, y'all that don't know Brandon, can you give like an official bio of you real quick so they know who you are?
Oh yeah.
Okay, great.
My elevator pitch, I'm the CEO of Crumble Co. We are a cosmetics and candle manufacturing and distribution company in the Midwest. I'm also the CEO of Love Labs Brand House. We design brands and we invest in Black-owned, trans-owned, queer-owned, woman-owned businesses also in the Midwest because the Midwest needs it.
Yeah.
And then I consider myself one of the laziest CEOs. I'm home all the time. I hop on calls and I just tell people what to do. I made my first million by the time I was 20 and I just kept trying to scale it. And here I am.
Here you are. I love that so much. What a brilliant story. And you make it sound so simple because it is.
Right. It kind of was. I mean, I didn't have it handed. Like I was very poor. I grew up very poor.
So tell me about so I grew up in Baltimore too. And I was like in Baltimore where it was like, you're going to go to the store, get your cup of noodles for lunch, right? Like that's what I was living in. Was it that? Tell me about the poverty that you grew up in. I mean,
it was ramen noodle budget. It was ramen noodle budget.
Wait, did you at least like put some cheese on it? Some cheddar cheese on top?
I wasn't a cheese guy. No, just the noodles.
Okay. That was bougie. Like we made it in when you did cheese.
Nowadays, if I like grate zest out of like a lime or something and my mom's over, she's like, oh, we're getting fancy. And I brings me back and I'm like, oh, that's right. This is definitely new territory for
grated zest. That's such a silly step of cooking. You're like,
it is.
Why am I doing this?
I'm gonna do it. It looks like money. I'm gonna do it. I'm fancy.
It's like So you grew up kind of poor-ish, and what the fuck made you the first million? Was what was the candle company or the
it was the candle company, and we only sold candles. Our wax melts at the time, so wickless. It was just wax in a little plastic pack. That is it. And
you could probably that's amazing. You could probably sell ice to Eskimos, right? Like if you're selling that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That used to be one of my favorite phrases.
So how did you just like stumble into, because it took me, I'm older than you, I think. It took me a little bit longer to figure out how to like CEO a company, right? And like rock this out. How did you just do that at 20? Like for me at 20, I was like blowing money out of the window. Like I was a sex worker in New York, like hot mess of a human. How did you do that? I'm
I was
like,
a horrible CEO at 20.
okay, good. I'm just checking because so was I. Like, no morals, right? Like,
so worst. When I started scaling the company, I got really scared actually because I was so bad at it that I hired someone without really putting the full investigation behind them before I handed them my multi-million-dollar business. And they robbed me blind, took $500K from me. I had to rebuild. That is what made me a better CEO. And
yes.
I couldn't pay for that level of education. So I'm always just like, tuition paid. There's no debt.
Right.
It's tuition that's paid.
Wow, that's crazy. So like you were just like, you take it over. Like
I mean, I was poor again, and I was like, well, I've been here before. Like,
it's not a big deal, right?
It's not a big deal.
Exactly.
This is my default. I'll just build up again.
So like, did you always have the entrepreneur gene in you?
Yeah, weirdly enough, when I was a kid, I wanted to be Mosby from Sweet Life of Zach and Cody because I was like, oh, he manages something. Oh, yeah, I want to do that. I want to manage something. I really liked the people behind the KFC checkout counter at KFC. I was like, oh, they seem important. I want to do that too. I just knew they were like doing commerce and changing money and giving someone an experience. And I love that. I love giving someone an experience. It's kind of my whole jive.
Yeah. I mean, that's when you break it down, that's kind of what it is. Right. And I know for me, like as a little girl, I used to boss everyone around. Right. Like I had my little troop of friends and I feel like I didn't really have friends. I'm sorry. Those of you that knew me in elementary school that are watching this, like I was real, like talk about bad CEO. I was like, you do this, you do this, you do this. Did you have that gene in you too? Or did you like develop it?
I was the bossy friend. Oh yeah. I mean, we all like friends that collected certain toys and stuff. I was the manager of what toys were cool. We would do trades and I would get the better half of every trade. Like I feel a little bad now, but like at the time I was winning.
I love it. I love it. And what about like, so this is something I run into because I help people build businesses now. Because once you do it, like, don't you just want everyone to do it? You're like, what are you doing living in poverty? Like, what are you doing? It's so fun. What about the people that feel shy from the get-go or feel like I keep running into this too. And I'm like, I don't, what would you tell them or how do you work with them? Like someone that might not be the bossier entrepreneur.
You just have to make enough money to hire someone else to do it.
Word.
It's that easy. If you can do it by the time in a year, if you have to just step out of your comfort box for a year and be a millionaire, like that's the cost. That is the literal cost. So it's, are you willing to pay it? And if you're not, fine, stay where you're at.
Yeah.
But I think it's a very reasonable cost.
Word. I think so too. Okay. So were you always, I'm switching gears because I'm excited about this piece. Were you always out and queer and like amazing?
Depends. My mom would say yeah, but I would say no. In middle school, I was outed. And I'll never forget Jose, that bastard. He outed me. And I was like, yeah, I'm gay. And he was like, oh. And then he like jumped back 5 seats. And I realized, oh, I have this superpower. I scare straight people. And that was my coming out story. And and the vice principal like outed me. This is like circa before LGBTQ plus rights kind of like blew up mainstream. And so he was hateful, Mr. Warfel. Ooh, he outed me. He was like, your son is being gay. I'm like, yeah, he's being gay.
Wow. He's gay. He is gay. I did the first day of silence in my middle school and I got suspended because I refused to talk for the day. And like a bunch of people started doing it with me. And yeah, I got suspended. Could you imagine nowadays, like someone getting suspended for that?
No, it's so weird because all of my team members, I like to hire people younger than me, like Gen Zs that are like 20. I'm 24, so it's like a whole decade's difference.
Yeah.
It really is.
I'm the mid-20s, early 20s. Yeah.
I'm the like cusp of millennialism. I'm technically a Gen Z, but I'm grandpa of the Gen Zs. Yeah. So I hire my grandbabies, and the stories they have, just even 5 years ago in high school, are starkly different. I'm like, I can't imagine going in and being cool because I'm gay. What?
Right. Right.
I missed the train by 2 years.
It's so true. I have a son and I always say to my partner, I'm like, 'cause my partner's super queer. Like we're both like crazy queer, right? And my partner even more so. Like I feel like I could put them in a magazine and be like, this is queer. stereotype, right? And I always tell them, I'm like, I hope he grows up to be gay. Like, it's almost like we want it.
Just the golden ticket now.
It totally is the golden ticket now. I don't know what it is. I'm like, you'll get on all the Broadway shows if you go do that. Like, come on.
You're going to get in the middle of the theater department. They're going to put you first.
Yep.
The art teacher's going to love you. English teacher's going to love you. The sports teachers are all going to fear you.
Yeah. Totally. So in business, are you like the token queer in your circle of business folk, or were you at any point, or were you kind of that one? Like I feel like I'm that one.
I hated it. I hated the idea of being a token because I was for a hot minute. I was on every podcast because I was gay, not because I was a multimillionaire 21-year-old.
I mean, that's why you're on this one. So, we got we got so many queer people on this podcast. You're in the majority, darling.
I love that. I know when I joined back in the day when B School was like the big thing, I was like the youngest person in B School. And I was like the only like really out loudly, annoyingly gay one in the whole group. There was some quiet gay ones, but they were like, we got to fit in. It's business. Wear your tux. And I came in like, maybe I want to wear a half dress, half tux and be crazy. Fuck gender. Ruined people.
It's so much fun. I have fun being the one at the, very important business meeting where I'm like, all of a sudden I start touching my tits. Cause I'm always like the sexy token sexy one that like makes everyone kind of uncomfortable and blush and like start talking about orgasms in the middle of nowhere. That's always been me. And I have a little bit of pride in it. And when I'm in a team of like a whole bunch of people and there's more than one of us, I'm like, ooh, interesting. What's going to happen here? Right.
I am very sex positive in my circles. So much so that I'm like, do I need to pull myself back? And that's like the white cis male CEO deep inside of me going, put your tux on. But I never let him come out and play. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
no,
we need to be. Yeah, totally. So like multi-million-dollar by 21, did you have a social life?
Yeah. Oh my God. Before COVID.
Right. I'm talking like before, like 2-3 years ago. Like, I mean, I get it was last year, but I think we were all like prepping psychologically. We were right. Did you were you dating? Were you in the dating circuit?
I consider myself one of the top socialites of Kansas City. Weird title, but I'm running it.
Very, very weird title. I'm not going to make any comments. I'm very proud of you. It's Thank good. You. Could give you a trophy.
Thank you. When I get to New York, I'll be like bottom barrel, but like here I am king. And I cultivated my business kind of around my personality, like these red glasses, this outfit. This is all Brandon loved the brand. Yeah. And I'm personality of the year 2 years running in Kansas City, actually.
Wow.
Like, it's in magazines. And I made it a part of marketing. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to go out and make myself a huge part of it. It'll bring me money. And it does.
Do you get noticed like at the grocery store when you're eating, like buying your potatoes and all of a sudden?
That is nowhere else. I know for a fact I am bubble famous. Only here in Kansas City am I famous. And I love it.
Does it make dating weird?
Yes.
Like what happens? Like everyone wants to date the Crumble guy, right? Like
huge hurdles. Oh my God. I've been in so many weird relationships I shouldn't have been in. I've been in so many friend groups I shouldn't have been in. I have a penthouse, so I used to have these giant parties. Hundreds of people would come throughout the course of like an 8-hour party, and I don't know any of them. I don't do that anymore, but like early 20s, big money, bad CEO. I look back and I'm like, I did that. Like that's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I can relate. I did that a lot when I was a sex worker. I'd come home with, stashes of cash. And I'm like, I wish I knew how to invest at 20. Fuck. I didn't pay any attention. You know what I mean? I took all of that and just like, we're going to buy Louboutins for everyone. Like, that's what we're going to do. I was a mess of a human and it was so much fun. And I think I took some of that fun and kept it. Like as I'm growing older and cranky and have a child and, I have like the normal, I'm older now. I'm not going to say how old I am, but like, y'all, you can see, it's
28.
Fine. That for me, it's like, I still want to bring the fun into everything I'm doing.
Yeah.
Cause there's a reason that 20-year-old hot mess of a human was so successful. Mm-hmm. What do you think drew people to you back then? And now, it's not like you've like outgrown that moment, but like
now everyone is 6 feet away. And there's also a lot to be said about being the provider and being such a heavy, irresponsible provider at that time. It's fun. It was a wonderful time in my life. Sure, it's not something I can sustain forever, but what a beautiful blip in both of our histories. Like, that's amazing. I love that period of time. Would never start buying people stoves again. I'm not for anyone.
Stoves. You buy stoves. You're like, for all your muffin making. Yes. I'm buying people dildos. You're buying them stoves. I love it.
I'd have friends who would be like, oh my God, I'm in this horrible abusive relationship. And there I would be, rosé in hand. Like, that's dumb. You don't need that. So I'd be like, let's get you an apartment. I'll furnish it. And I would. We'd show up to a store and I'd be like, put it all in the van. Send it home.
Oh my goodness. But now it's so what changed? What are you doing with your money now? Like why? So first of all, there's some people in the field, right, that are all like, I don't want money because money is, I don't know, they've got all these negative, I've never really had that, but all these like, money's going to make me stupid. Money's going to make me ego, whatever. It's going to make me like Trump. I don't know.
Are you stupid? Are you full of ego? Are you full of Trump? Like, then yeah, it will.
Then it'll magnetize it, right? It's going to magnify it. Yeah. But like you've shifted now how you're relating to wealth. So what's happening for you now?
Arguably, I'm doing the same thing in a different way. I was wanting to receive the joy of seeing someone receive something. And it was an exchange. I like to see someone uplifted. I've changed people's lives. I know people who were in horrible abusive relationships now who have new husbands, kids, homes with stuff that I furnished. I'm proud of that work. And it's work, right? It's not just crazy drunkardness that it was, but like it was crazy drunkardness work. Nowadays, I'm investing in these businesses, that's how I introduced myself with Love Labs. I invest in Black-owned businesses, queer-owned businesses. It's doing the same thing in a more wide, kind of rippling way. So I'm doing the same shit, just more productively.
Are there any businesses that you've been really excited about? Like any new like loves that have appeared?
I am working on this cleaning company, and it's a service-based business, and I'm horrible at that kind of stuff. So I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna do this. I want to stumble. You
want to learn it. Yeah, right. Yes. It's fun.
So, and there's no like out-of-the-box technology for it. It's all a headache to do what I want exactly, because I'm so anal. I want it to be like the perfect way. I want people to sign up and be like, I just paid for my cleaning and I scheduled it all up and it was so fun and the technology was sexy. And it doesn't exist. So it's expensive, it's a headache, and it's my current, it keeps me up at night. And thank God. I need something to keep me up at night.
You know what? Before this call, I was just sitting there. I was like, I'm bored. Yeah. I can't wait for my call with Brandon. Like, I feel bored right now, which is funny because 2 years ago, only 3 years ago, I was on food stamps. That's crazy to me to recognize. Like, I'm like, and I was not bored. I didn't know what boredom was. Right. I was like, hustle, go, you can do it. Da, da, da. And now I'm like, I take midday naps, like 4 of them a day. Oh yeah. It's a very different life. And I want everyone to be able to do that. I want them, no matter who they are.
That freedom and that boredom just encourages you to chase more things that you want to chase anyway. Like there's never a day where I'm like, well, I have it all.
Right. Done. I'm done. It's the game to play.
Yeah.
And I love the way you talked about like when you got your first million, how you were just like, yeah, it happened. Like you were just like, whatever, like the game of it, of like, it's hilarious to me. Like when I book in $100,000 clients and I'm like, and it's funny. Like we're both like, yeah, sure. Like there's an energy of joy and fun and like the money is delicious. Right. That it gets to be there. And I know for you, for me, I had to really shift because for me, money always meant safety, security, like taken care of, all of that. And now it's just like silly. I pay people. I realized recently I pay people just to hang out with them a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like I'm paying coaches that I don't need their support from, but I just like them. And I'm like, I want to hang out with you.
Do that.
Like, right? Like, isn't it fun?
My assistant lives with me. Like, I'm like, I will pay you to be my roommate. Just handle these things and have fun. Like, that's it.
That's so much fun. I'm sure everyone on this podcast is thinking like, how did you do it? Holy shit. It sounds impossible. Like, how did that happen? For me, it was sex. I kept having more and more and more and more sex, and life just got funnier and funnier and funnier. And then I just like put money on top of sex. And I was like, oh, it's the same thing. This is hilarious. La, la, la. And that's what I did.
you were doing it and then you were like, oh, I can have this financial aspect. And I think that's everyone's thing. You're doing something already, or you want to, but you don't want to put a financial aspect on top of it.
Yeah.
You talked about the negative connotations with money, and I have that all the time. I don't have that myself anymore, but but I know that there's people who watch me, and sometimes I'm like, oh my God, what are they going to think? And then I'm like, they should be rich. That's what they should be thinking. Like, yeah. I have this friend who's a poet, for example, and I know that he's very like kind of anti-money, and he wants to just be in like travel the world. And I'm like, how are you gonna do that without money?
Yeah.
And you are a person of color, you are queer, you're an artist. Yeah, you need to be rich. Oh my God, because then you empower queer people, Black people, poets. Boom. Yes. Instead of, oh, let's just leave it for the white cis het man, because then what happens? Perpetual white cis het man power and money, and money is power. Period. Money has so much power.
Yeah. And in this, the only way to the only way to change our societal, you know, like how, like we can flip it on its head, the more of us that are living in wealth and being like, yeah, you know what, a wealthy person looks like, I just got a at-home mani-pedi, and then I masturbated, and then I like lied around for a few hours, and now I'm just like, that gets to be what wealth gets to look like.
Yeah, it's so weird. Yeah. People think that I'm going to like business meetings every day and stuff. It's no, I sat at home yesterday in a bubble bath while my house got cleaned, my dog got walked, my laundry got folded. I played video games and masturbated. That is literally my work of yesterday. There is nothing else I did. Not a damn thing. I drove my car around because I wanted to. I had nowhere to drive my fancy ass vehicle, and so I drove it around the block.
Dude, I love that you're getting your Tesla because you're moving to Baltimore, and I saw that how you're gonna get your Tesla shipped and like the joy of that, right? You're like, so they're not gonna drive it; they're actually gonna just like take it
on a truck.
On a truck. Yeah. Like that's so fun. I love that so much, you know. And it's like, for me, it's simple things. It's like if my sister is struggling, I can go like, here. You know, like you don't have to,
oh my God.
You don't have to think about it. Like my mama gets a house when I'm older. I can do these things for my family. I'm like, yeah, this is worth it to me. And worth it. It's not even like it's a struggle. It's more of a strange inner belief thing that has to happen. It's not like I have to work hard for this. It's more like, yeah, sure. It's almost like, right? I don't know. I mean, is that how
my mother especially, because she still has a lot of like money trauma. Grew up super poor. And of course, anytime she calls me and she complains about something, like she would with anyone else, I'm like, why are you complaining about it? Like, here's a check.
Right.
Like there, done. Right. She's trying to pick out an apartment in Baltimore right now because she moved back to Cuba. She's with her sister right now. And she's like, no place expensive. Don't do that. And I'm like, you want me to put you somewhere cheap, unsafe, right. Not near me? I'm not going to be your neighbor there, Mom. Like...
And be careful because in Baltimore, that's every other block, right? It's like such a weird city. You're like, where are we?
Meanwhile, here, my penthouse, I got her the one next door. And I'm like, we can do that again. It's that simple.
Oh, that would be so lovely. Mom, if you're hearing this, come move to New York. I'll get you a house.
Done.
Come over here. My mom is so independent. She's like, no, I don't want that.
Fun.
Like, bitch, come here. I want to hang out.
They want you to keep your success and they care for you and they love you, but it's like, I did this for you.
Right. It's not like how many more at-home massages do I need? I'd rather you have one. Like I'm good.
Yes.
You know, like you get to have one now.
Who's mom I gonna spend this on? Like
exactly. I love it so much. All right. Well, we're gonna pop off in just a bit, but before we do, this podcast will live forever in history for the rest of time, forever and ever until we're like actually old, right? Like both of us with wrinkles and stuff, but you'll never get those because you've got.
I'm like, cute idea.
You're never gonna. I know it already. You're never gonna get wrinkles.
Like, I know great surgeons now.
You're always gonna. Well, and you've got all your products. You could just put them on your. You know, it'll be great.
Gotta keep the plastic in shape.
Exactly. So anything, because this is gonna live on forever and ever. Anything on your heart or mind that you feel like sharing before we close this out?
Oh, no pressure. That's
yeah, just no pressure. Your last words.
My last words, just go be rich. God damn it. Like if you're not rich, it's in front of you. You are in the one country in the world where you have that option. Especially now. It's the best time to start businesses. Holy shit.
It's like it's the Renaissance, y'all. We're in it, and it's queer, BIPOC. Like that's who's Renaissance.
It's the fall of the white man, and I say take advantage of it.
Exactly, 100%. All right, so if you loved branding, because I know you did, and you're watching this live, come to Pleasure Circle now because we're gonna do a Q&A. And I'm really excited because I bet they're going to have even hotter questions than I did.
I'm ready for those. I'm so excited. Okay. I came here for those.
Yum. All right. I'll see you in a bit over on that link. Everyone else say bye, share this link, and I'll see y'all soon in Pleasure Circle. Mwah.